Okay, today we're going to look at masking, which is a powerful way in Photoshop to reveal parts of one layer through another. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this background copy that I made. I made some changes in Camera Raw, which was in a separate video. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that for now. And then I want to go over adding adjustment layers to your background. So again, I always start with a background copy so that I don't do anything destructively. And then your adjustment layers are up here at the top. Now, if those are not open, you can also go to a window, choose adjustments from there. Any of these panels that get closed, you can find them again under the window menu. So adjustments allow you to do basic things like, adjusting the brightness and contrast, but this is a global edit. So whatever you do here will affect the entire layer. So if I just want her feathers lighter, that's something that I have to use a mask for, because this is going to change the all of the layers, in fact, underneath of it. If I want it to only affect the one layer below it, so say I make a selection of her, and I'm not going to make a very detailed selection, I'm just going to do a basic selection here so you can see what it does. So there I have her. I'm going to hit Command C, Command V. So I have her on a separate layer now. If I hide everything else, you can see she's on layer 1. I'm going to call this Angel. Okay, so my brightness and contrast is affecting everything beneath it. So again, to see what's on a layer, you turn it on and off. So you can see when I turn it on, it's affecting all of the layers below it. If I want this brightness and contrast layer, I have to double click in order to pull it up again. If I want this to only affect the Angel layer, what's right below it, I'm going to click on this little clip to button at the bottom of the adjustment panel here. So when I click this, watch what happens. It now has a little arrow pointing down to just the Angel layer. So it's only affecting this one layer here. So now when I adjust the brightness, I can affect only that one layer. So that can be really helpful for isolating certain parts of your image. Now, I have my Camera Raw filter image here, which is very, very different from the rest, but maybe I like the background from this one, but I don't like how you can't see any detail really in her feathers. You can see a lot more detail in this new layer that I've just made with the brightness and contrast adjustment layer. So what I'm going to do is add a mask, something called a mask, onto the Camera Raw filter, which is part of the layers panel functions. So at the bottom of my layers panel, you can see I have several options. I can delete this layer. It'll ask me to make sure, which no, I don't want to delete that, but I could delete it using this trash can. I could add a new layer. Don't really need to do that right now. I can group several layers together. Say I want to keep all of these, in one group. I can do that and just call this, I don't know, foreground. I can spell or something like that. So I might Command Z, undo that. And then I also have my adjustment layers here. There's always 2 or 3 ways to do anything in Photoshop. So these same adjustment layers that I have access to up here, I also have access to down here. These are the same. And then we have our mask. So this little rectangle with a circle in the middle, that is adding a layer mask. And when you click on this, it just adds a blank mask right now because nothing was selected. So if I had, for example, my circular marquee tool here and I just selected this lamp and then I clicked the mask, since I have an active selection, those marching ants are telling Photoshop that, this is the area that I want Photoshop to focus on. If I click on the mask button now, it's going to hide everything outside of that selection. So now this is the only thing that's showing from that layer because I have the layer mask selected. So what it did was it hid everything outside my marching ants. So it displays that in black. Everything hidden is in black, and everything that's revealed on that layer is in white. So basically a mask, what it does, it's like when you wear a mask, you know, for COVID, the mask hides part of your face and reveals your eyes, or reveals a different part of your face. Or if you're wearing like a Venetian mask or something, it would, you know, it would show your eyes but hide everything else. So the same thing is true in Photoshop. Now if I want to delete this mask, I just drag it down to the trash, I'll say delete, and then now I can see the whole image again. Now if I just add a blank mask, so just click on the mask button when nothing is selected, now I can go in and edit this mask. So anywhere that I add black will hide, and anywhere that I keep white will be revealed. So I want to reveal the background. I want to hide the angel because the angel in this picture is a little bit too bright. So I can use my brush tool, which we learned in a different video, in order to selectively or customize where on my mask it is black and where it is white. So I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, and anywhere I paint with black, and you can see what's happening. This is obviously a little bit too dramatic. I just want it to be obvious. It's revealing that layer below it. So you can kind of see what it's doing. It's not doing a perfect job in this case, but wherever I painted black, it's going to hide from this layer. So there you can really see what it's doing. I kind of liked the effect. Maybe I'll either delete this this mask, or I could, I don't know, I could change the opacity or something like that. There we go. So she's kind of staying the same, but now whenever I change the opacity, it's affecting the background. So that's basically what a mask does. Now I can undo that by switching my colors. So now that I have white as my foreground color, now I can put it back the way it was. I can say, oh, I didn't like that after all. Or I'm just going to paint the highlight on her dress, or I might lower the opacity of my brush so that now whenever I paint, it makes less of an intense change. That's probably what I want, is like an in-between. So I'm painting with gray, basically. And it's just kind of showing through. I'm going to get rid of this part. So I'm painting white, so it's revealing her again from this original camera raw filter. Okay, kind of make that look a little bit more believable. So there we go. She's got some intense shadows on her. So it's a little bit better than it was before I added the mask. And then another thing you can do with masking is, say I want to make an edit to just like the bottom of this image. So maybe I want half the image to be black and white and then the other half to be color. So I'm going to go ahead and add an adjustment layer. It'll add on top of this one, and it's going to affect everything below it. So it has just made a global edit, black and white here. You can see when I turn it off and turn it back on, you can see what it's doing. And it's affecting every layer below it because that's how adjustment layers work. Now, if I want only half of it to be black and white, I don't know why I would, but maybe I want, for example, the top to be in color and the bottom to be in black and white. It could look like she's ascending or something like that. I'm going to click on the mask itself, and I'm going to grab this gradient tool. So the gradient will allow me, I can choose the type of gradient. Up here, I have black and white, so I want it to go from black to white up here in the panel. And I want it to be a basic linear gradient. These other ones have different functions, like a radial gradient or reflective or something. But I just want the basic gradient from black to white. Okay, and now on my mask, I'm going to click and drag, and it's going to drag from black to white on my mask, which makes it fade from hidden to revealed. So we'll see what that does. And sometimes I drag the wrong way. Okay, that was the wrong way because I want the top to be color. So I'm going to click and drag down. So now we can see what happened. The top is hidden. So this black and white layer is hidden at the top. So it's going to show through with the color below it. This layer is showing through. So all that's showing from this black and white layer is really the bottom, which is displayed in white here on the mask. So you can see when I turn it off, turn it back on, that's the only part of that layer that is showing, which can be really helpful in doing composite images where you want the sky to be different than the foreground and from a different layer. So you can create a very, very simple, very smooth blend from hidden to revealed on various layers, and you can go and edit masks customly with the brush, painting with black to hide, and painting with white to reveal again.